The alien's mockery. The alien commander stood tall on the broken stone platform, his silver armor glowing under the pale light of two suns. His long, scaled fingers pointed at the human soldiers lined up in the distance. His voice, sharp and echoing, filled the valley. "Your weapons are clumsy. They shake in your hands. They kick back like frightened animals. How can such fragile things harm us?" His troops, hundreds of tall alien warriors, laughed together. Their laughter was harsh, almost metallic, rolling across the ruined battlefield. They carried sleek, polished rifles with no recoil, no vibration, and no sign of imperfection. To them, human weapons were primitive toys. The humans stood silent. Their boots pressed into the cracked earth. Dust moved with the wind around their helmets. They did not answer the alien's insult. Their eyes stayed forward, steady, watching. The alien commander paced slowly, his grin wide. His skin was pale green with dark ridges running across his face, a mark of his high rank. You fire your bullets and your arms tremble. You fire your rockets and your bodies shake. Weakness, nothing but weakness. Do you not see how pathetic you are? His words were sharp, meant to cut deep, but the humans did not flinch. Behind the human line, one soldier knelt down beside a heavy weapon resting on a tripod. It was large, thick, and heavy with scratches along its body. Unlike the alien rifles, it looked rough, built for war and nothing else. The soldier checked the weapon carefully, his gloved hands moving slow, calm, as if every motion had been done 1,000 times before. The alien commander kept laughing. He raised his weapon high, showing its smooth, flawless design to his army. "Look at this. No recoil, no shaking. Perfect balance. Perfection is alien. Chaos is human." More laughter broke out among his troops. The valley seemed to echo with it. The humans stayed silent. The soldier with the heavy weapon did not look up. He loaded a round into the launcher, the sound of metal sliding against metal ringing out clearly in the open air. The other soldiers glanced at him, then back at the alien force. Their faces were calm, their breathing steady. The alien commander tilted his head, confused by their silence. His smile faded slightly. He wanted them to break. He wanted them to argue, to shout, to defend themselves with words. Instead, they gave him nothing, so he mocked again. "You hide behind noise and smoke. Your weapons betray you with every shot. Even your guns scream against you. What power is there in weapons that cannot even stay still in your hands?" The alien troops pounded their chests in rhythm, a victory chant, before the battle even began. They believed the humans were already defeated. Then came the sound. A heavy click, followed by a low hum as the soldier's launcher locked into place. The alien commander turned his head toward it. His smile grew once more, but this time it was thinner, weaker, a smile hiding doubt. The soldier rose slowly, lifting the launcher onto his shoulder. His helmet reflected the pale light, and his stance was steady. The weight of the weapon did not bend him. His body did not shake. He stood like a stone pillar, unmoving, patient. The alien commander narrowed his eyes. "You dare raise such a broken tool against me?" The human did not answer. He did not need to. His silence was heavier than words. The alien troops leaned forward, expecting a joke, expecting failure, expecting the weapon to explode in the human's hands. They whispered to one another in mocking tones. The soldier looked through the scope, his finger resting gently on the trigger. Behind him, his fellow soldiers spread out, securing their ground, waiting. Not a single one of them laughed. The alien commander raised his hand, pointing at the human. "Shoot, then. Show us your weakness. Show us your shaking arms. Prove to the galaxy that recoil belongs only to the weak." For a brief moment, time felt frozen. The valley grew quiet, as if the world itself was waiting. Dust hung in the air, unmoving. The alien troops leaned closer. The humans stood straighter. The soldier adjusted his aim, his breathing slow and calm. He saw the alien commander's grin through the scope. He heard the echoes of laughter in the valley. He felt the weight of the weapon pressing into his shoulder, steady, familiar. His finger tightened on the trigger. The alien commander's smile grew wider, ready to mock once more. But deep inside, hidden behind his arrogance, a small shadow of doubt began to form. He had seen human eyes before. He had seen this kind of silence. It was not the silence of fear. It was the silence of confidence. And in that silence, for the first time, the alien commander's heart began to beat faster. The humans did not laugh. They did not boast. They did not speak. They simply prepared. And that, more than any weapon, was what made the alien commander uneasy. The soldier's weapon gave off a low hum, the signal that it was ready. The alien commander's laughter slowed. The troops stopped pounding their chests. The air grew colder. The soldier's eyes never moved. He saw the target. He saw the wall behind it. He saw beyond the wall. He knew what was about to happen. The alien commander finally felt it, the first taste of fear. The shot had not yet been fired. But in the stillness before it, the alien commander understood something he would never admit out loud. The humans were not weak. They were waiting. And when humans wait in silence, something terrible always follows. The battlefield encounter. The air grew heavier as the human soldier steadied his launcher. Dust swirled, caught in the faint breeze, moving slowly as if the world itself did not want to disturb the silence. Across the valley, the alien commander lowered his hand, his grin fading into something sharper, colder. His army stood ready behind him, rows of tall warriors with flawless weapons in their hands. Their armor gleamed like polished stone, each piece smooth and without a scratch. They were creatures built for war, trained to fight without hesitation. And yet, at this moment, their laughter had stopped. The humans remained still. Their dark uniforms blended with the cracked earth, their helmets reflecting only fragments of light. They were fewer in number, standing in disciplined lines. They did not shout, did not chant, and did not mock. They waited. The alien commander spoke again, his voice louder, trying to cover the strange unease creeping into his chest. "Fire, human! Show us your clumsy noise. Show us your trembling." But the soldier did not fire. He adjusted his stance, looking through the scope, his breathing slow and measured. His silence felt heavier than any words. The alien troops grew restless. Some tapped their weapons against their armored thighs. Others whispered to each other, their voices sharp and uneasy. The commander raised his weapon again, lifting it high into the light. "See this?" he shouted to both armies. "No recoil, no chaos, no failure. This is the weapon of the future." And what do they have? Rusted metal that fights against its own masters. A few soldiers laughed nervously, but the sound was weak, forced. The human soldier with the launcher did not move. His stillness spread across his line like fire. One by one, every human soldier lowered into a battle stance, their weapons ready, their boots pressing deeper into the ground. They did not speak, but their silence shouted louder than the alien commander's words. The alien shifted his weight, the grin on his face twisting into something harder. He turned to his troops. "Advance," he ordered. His voice echoed off the stone walls of the valley. At once, the alien army moved. Their steps were heavy, synchronized, the ground shaking beneath them. Their polished weapons gleamed as they aimed forward. Rows upon rows of shining rifles pointed at the humans. The valley roared with the sound of alien boots. Still, the humans stood their ground. The alien commander walked at the front, each step confident, his weapon glowing faintly with energy. He expected the humans to back away, to show fear. But their line did not bend. Their helmets stayed forward, their shoulders unshaken. The distance closed. 50 meters, 40, 30. The alien commander's grin returned, though this time it was forced. "See how they fear us," he shouted. "They cannot even fire first. Weakness." But as he said it, his eyes flicked back to the human soldier with the launcher. The man's finger still rested on the trigger, his stance solid as stone. He was waiting for the perfect moment. The commander's chest tightened. The alien army raised their rifles as one, preparing to fire a wave of light and heat. Their weapons made no sound, no hiss of energy, only the faint glow of charged power. The humans did not flinch. They adjusted their aim in silence. The alien commander hesitated. He wanted to give the order to fire, but something inside him whispered against it. He had seen many battles, crushed many enemies, but he had never faced this kind of stillness before. The human soldier finally moved. Just a small step forward, steady, unhurried. He shifted his launcher slightly, sighting down the line. His body was calm, as if recoil meant nothing to him, as if the weight of the weapon was part of him. The alien commander's grin faltered again. His troops slowed for half a second, their steps losing rhythm. And in that half-second, the humans raised their rifles in perfect unison. The click of dozens of human weapons echoed across the valley. It was not smooth like the alien rifles. It was harsh, metallic, raw, but it carried a weight. Every click was a promise. Every click was a warning. The alien army stopped. For the first time, hesitation spread among them. They were trained to fight, but the silence of the humans unnerved them. The commander lifted his hand, signaling them to hold. He glared at the humans, his voice rising. "You think your recoil will save you? You think chaos can defeat perfection?" The human with the launcher shifted his aim again, his stance stronger, his finger brushing against the trigger. The soldier's visor reflected the alien commander's face, showing him his own fading confidence. The humans did not answer. Their silence was their weapon. The alien commander clenched his jaw. He needed to prove his strength, to erase his doubt. He lowered his arm and shouted, "Fire!" Energy roared from alien rifles, a blinding wave of light shooting across the valley. The air shimmered with heat as bolts of power tore through dust and stone. The valley shook under the force, but the humans had been waiting. Their weapons roared in answer. Explosions cracked through the air, each shot throwing dust and debris into the sky. Their rifles kicked back with violent recoil, but the soldiers did not falter. They absorbed the force, their bodies moving in rhythm with the power. And then came the sound that silenced all others. The human with the launcher pulled the trigger. A thunderous roar tore through the battlefield, louder than anything the aliens had ever heard. A streak of fire shot forward, crossing the valley in an instant. The alien commander's eyes widened as he watched it fly. It struck the wall behind him, and the world erupted, stones shattered. Fire burst outward. A hole the size of a house tore through solid rock, and the blast echoed into the distance. The alien commander turned slowly, his eyes wide. Through the hole, another wall stood behind it, now torn apart as well. And behind that, another wall, broken open with the same force. A crater stretched deep into the valley, smoke rising from its edges. Silence fell again, but this time it was not the silence of waiting. It was the silence of fear. The alien commander's mouth hung open. His army stared at the destruction, their weapons lowered, their voices gone. The humans stood still, rifles smoking, faces calm. The alien commander finally understood. Recoil was not weakness, it was power. The shot that changed everything, the valley trembled with the echo of the blast. Smoke rose in twisting spirals from the crater, and broken stone rained down like black hail. The air smelled of burnt dust and scorched earth. For a long moment, no one moved. No one even breathed. The alien commander stood frozen, his eyes fixed on the smoking hole that cut through wall after wall. He had seen weapons of power before. He had seen energy cannons tear ships apart, had watched plasma melt steel. But this was different. This was raw physical destruction. There was no elegance, no glow of controlled energy. It was chaos in its purest form, violence shaped into a single shot. The alien soldiers behind him shifted uneasily. Their hands tightened on their rifles, but their arms shook. Their faces, once lit with mocking smiles, now showed something else, fear. They had expected the human weapon to shake apart, to fail, to humiliate its owner. Instead, it had opened the earth itself. The human soldier lowered the launcher slowly, the barrel still steaming. He did not move fast. He did not need to. The silence of his line was enough to press against the alien army like an invisible wall. The alien commander turned back toward the humans, his grin completely gone. His lips pressed tight as his mind fought to understand what he had just witnessed. Recoil. That word echoed in his thoughts. They had mocked it for years. They had seen it as weakness. Now, standing in the smoke of destruction, he understood it in a way he never had before. Recoil meant power. Recoil meant force too great to contain, strength so real that even the weapon itself struggled to hold it. The human soldier stood steady, his shoulders squared as if the violent kick of the launcher was nothing to him. He did not stagger, he did not tremble. He simply reloaded, the sound of metal sliding against metal ringing loud in the still air. That sound made the alien commander's chest tighten. His troops looked to him for orders. He could feel their eyes on his back, waiting for reassurance, for the confidence they had once shared. But he had no words. For the first time in his long command, doubt clouded his mind. The humans did not move forward. They did not chase. They only stood calm and watchful. That stillness was more terrifying than any charge. The alien commander clenched his jaw and raised his weapon. He fired at the humans, a beam of bright energy ripping across the valley. It struck the ground before them, exploding in a flash of light. Dust and sparks filled the air, but when the smoke cleared, the humans still stood. Their armor was scorched, their boots pressed into the dirt, but their line remained unbroken. One of the humans lifted his rifle and fired back. The crack of the bullet echoed like thunder, sharp and brutal, compared to the clean hum of alien weapons. The alien soldier beside the commander dropped instantly, his armor torn apart by the shot. The alien commander's breath caught. His troops recoiled, stumbling back in panic. They had never seen such a thing, a simple, solid projectile ripping through their advanced armor with brutal efficiency. The commander roared to cover his fear. "Forward, fire! Crush them!" His troops obeyed, raising their sleek rifles and sending a wave of energy bolts across the battlefield. The valley lit up with flashes of white and blue light, scorching the ground and shaking the walls. But the humans answered. Their rifles thundered, each shot breaking the air with violent cracks. The sound was ugly, loud, imperfect, and unstoppable. Every trigger pulled came with recoil, a jolt of raw force. And yet the humans absorbed it. They fired again and again, their shoulders rocking back, their arms steady. Each recoil was like a heartbeat, steady, certain, alive. Alien soldiers fell. Their armor shattered. Their lines bent. The alien commander fired again and again, his weapon humming perfectly recoilless, flawless, and yet powerless against the storm of human firepower. Then the second roar came. The human with the launcher fired once more. The shot screamed across the valley, striking another wall. The explosion ripped it open, stone and steel, collapsing in a wave of fire. The ground shook so hard that even the alien commander stumbled, his perfect stance broken. A second crater burned into the valley floor. Smoke and fire climbed high into the air, casting shadows over both armies. The alien commander could not hide his shock. His soldiers could not hide their fear. Some dropped their rifles. Some stepped back and dared to laugh. The humans did not cheer. They did not shout victory. They only reloaded, their motions calm, as if this destruction was routine. Their silence was crushing. It told the aliens everything. Recoil was not weakness. Recoil was the mark of weapons too strong to be tamed, of warriors too disciplined to fall beneath it. The alien commander's hands tightened around his weapon. He felt sweat on his ridged forehead. His chest rose and fell with quick breaths. The words he had shouted earlier, mocking, confident, cruel, now came back to him like a curse. Your weapons are clumsy. They shake in your hands. They kick back like frightened animals. How foolish those words sounded now. How hollow! The crater behind him still smoked, glowing faintly with fire. The ground at his feet trembled, as if reminding him that humans had brought chaos itself into the valley. For the first time, the alien commander wondered if his army could win. The humans, fewer in number, stood unbroken, their rifles ready. Their faces hidden, but their silence louder than any roar. The alien looked at the soldier with the launcher. He stared at him, unable to look away. That man stood like a shadow of death, calm and patient, carrying the weapon that had opened the earth. And in that moment, the alien commander felt something he had not felt in decades of battle. Fear. The alien's realization. The battlefield was silent again, but it was not the proud silence of alien victory. It was the silence of broken confidence. Smoke drifted lazily from the crater that had torn through the valley, and the air still carried the echo of human fire. The alien commander stood frozen, his rifle heavy in his hands. He had led campaigns across half the stars. He had faced rebels, mercenaries, and rival empires. None had ever made him pause. None had ever made him feel this weight pressing against his chest. But these humans, they did not fight like anyone he had ever faced. He looked at them again. Their lines stood steady, unmoved by the chaos around them. Their rifles smoked, their launchers hissed with heat. But their eyes, though hidden behind glass and steel, seemed fixed, certain, unshakable. Every recoil, every violent kick of their weapons should have made them clumsy, but instead it made them look stronger. Each burst of force seemed to flow through them, not against them. Their bodies moved with it, absorbed it, mastered it. What the aliens had mocked as weakness, the humans turned into rhythm, into certainty. The alien commander's chest burned with an emotion he had not known for years. Doubt. He turned his head slightly, looking at his own troops. Their formation was still there, but it was breaking at the edges. Some soldiers gripped their weapons tighter, their knuckles pale, their eyes wide. Others shifted nervously, stepping back just an inch, but enough to be seen. The whispers of fear spread like cracks through glass. The commander gritted his teeth. He could not allow fear to take them. He lifted his weapon and shouted, "Stand firm! They are few. Their weapons betray them. They cannot last." But even as he shouted, he knew the words were empty. He could hear it in his own voice. He could feel it in the silence that followed. His soldiers looked at him, but not with faith. They looked at him with doubt, with the same unease that gnawed at his own heart. The humans shifted again, reloading in calm silence. That sound, the click of metal, the sharp snap of weapons being prepared, was like thunder in the stillness. Every click reminded the aliens of what had already happened, of the craters burned into the earth. The alien commander clenched his fists. His mind raced. He remembered the words he had spoken at the start. He had laughed at them. He had called them weak. He had mocked recoil as a flaw, but now he understood. Recoil was not a flaw. It was the mark of power. Only a weapon with true force pushed back. Only a warrior with discipline could master it. And only humans had done it with such ease, with such silence. The realization cut through him like a blade. His arrogance felt like a cloak burning away in fire, leaving him exposed. He was standing not before weak creatures, but before a species that had learned to tame chaos itself. The valley wind carried the smell of smoke. It carried the quiet crackle of burning stone. It carried the sound of shifting boots, alien boots moving back an inch at a time. The commander spun and glared at his troops. "Forward!" he roared. His voice was sharp, but it cracked at the edges. "Do not step back. You are warriors of the stars." But the humans raised their rifles again, calm, steady. Their weapons pointed forward, barrels dark and deadly. The soldier with the launcher adjusted his stance, the heavy weapon resting easily on his shoulder. The faint shimmer of heat rose from it, like smoke from a dragon's mouth. The alien commander's troops did not move forward. Not this time. They looked at the launcher. They looked at the crater behind them. Their breaths grew quick. Their eyes flicked between one another, waiting for someone else to move first. And then, in that stillness, the human soldier stepped forward. Just a single step. The earth crunched beneath his boot. That single step was enough. The alien troops flinched as if struck. The commander's stomach twisted. He felt the balance of power shift in that small motion. The humans had not shouted. They had not threatened. They had only stepped forward, and it was enough to make an army hesitate. The commander's mind raced. He tried to remind himself of numbers, of strength, of technology. His army was larger. Their weapons were flawless. Their armor was polished. But none of it mattered anymore. What mattered was belief, and belief was slipping away. The humans did not speak. They did not need to. Their silence told the aliens everything. Every recoil, every shot, every crater was proof that humans were not weak, but stronger than anyone had understood. The alien commander felt sweat run down his face. His weapon hummed in his hands, perfect and steady, but it felt useless now. He could see his reflection in the visor of the human soldier aiming at him, and in that reflection he saw fear staring back. His fear. For the first time, he wondered if this battle was already lost. Not because his army had fallen, but because his army no longer believed they could win, and worse, because deep in his heart he no longer believed it either. The crater still smoked behind him, a reminder carved into the earth itself. He knew that even if the humans fired no more, the memory of those shots would remain. His soldiers would remember it. He would remember it. Recoil was not weakness. It was strength beyond measure. And the galaxy would remember that truth. Humanity's message to the galaxy. The smoke rose higher, twisting into dark towers against the pale sky. The valley was scarred, broken open by fire and force, its once smooth walls now torn and blackened. The ground still trembled faintly, as if the earth itself remembered the shot. The alien commander's chest heaved as he tried to steady his breath. His weapon hummed in his grip, flawless, without recoil, without power. He looked once more at the human line, and for the first time in his life he understood what it meant to be the one who was underestimated. The humans stood still, not advancing, not retreating. Their rifles smoked faintly, barrels hot and black. Their visors reflected firelight, hiding their eyes, but revealing their patience. They had fired their shots, carved holes into stone, and then returned to silence as if it was nothing. That silence cut deeper than any weapon. The alien soldiers shifted nervously behind their commander. Their discipline was breaking. They whispered in low voices, their breaths fast, their hands tight on rifles that now felt like toys. Some looked at the crater. Some looked at the launcher. All looked away from their commander. He knew what they saw. Not a leader, not anymore. Only a figure standing before something greater. The human soldier with the launcher stepped forward again. The sound of his boot crunching against the stone floor was louder than the alien's orders, louder than the hum of alien rifles. He raised the weapon once more, slow, calm, steady. Smoke curled from its barrel, glowing faintly in the heat. The alien commander's throat tightened. He wanted to shout, to roar, to command his men to stand firm. But no words came. His soldiers were already stepping back, inch by inch, their courage eaten away by silence. The human soldier aimed, but he did not fire. He let the weapon rest on his shoulder, his stance sure, his body still. The recoil had already spoken. The craters behind the aliens had already told the story. One of the alien soldiers finally broke. He lowered his weapon, his armor clattering as he stepped back in fear. Another followed. Then another. The line that had once looked so strong was collapsing, not from wounds, but from belief shattered. The commander spun, his face twisted with rage and panic. "Hold your line," he roared. "Do not fall back. They are nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing." But even as he screamed, he felt the hollowness of his own words. He turned back toward the humans, and what he saw crushed him further. The humans did not smile. They did not gloat. They stood with the same calm silence they had held since the beginning. Their power did not need words. Their message did not need banners or speeches. The earth spoke for them. The fire spoke for them. The craters carved into stone were the language of their strength. The alien commander's weapon shook in his hands. Not because of recoil, his perfect rifle would never betray him with such a thing, but because his own body trembled. His pride, his certainty, his laughter, all had been burned away. He stared at the human soldier with the launcher. For a moment their eyes met through glass. The commander felt exposed, as if the soldier could see straight into his mind, straight into his fear, and then the soldier lowered the launcher. He turned slightly, looked at the crater one last time, and then back at the aliens. No words, no threats. Just silence. It was enough. The alien commander felt the weight of that silence crush him. It was not the silence of mercy. It was not the silence of weakness. It was the silence of certainty, of victory already claimed. The silence that said, we could fire again. We could break this valley open until nothing is left. But we do not need to. The message is already carved into the earth. The alien commander lowered his rifle. His soldiers followed, weapons dropping to their sides, their eyes wide and hollow. The laughter that had filled the valley at the start of the day was gone. Only smoke remained. The humans did not advance. They did not chase. They let the silence grow until it filled every heart. Then, without a word, they turned as one and marched away, their boots steady, their weapons resting at their sides. Each step echoed like a drumbeat, fading into the distance.